This is not a practice run. This month, silver will reach unobtainium. Silver baron, it's like being in a million different places at once. We have never seen anything like the silver squeeze. It is genuine. We did, in fact, notice something. Similar to this, I have seen it before. The real thing was much worse. Just give me a moment, and I'll fill you in. Everything has disappeared, including Australia, Africa, Canada, Vietnam, and Costco. All throughout the globe, the effects are becoming more severe daily. In my opinion, the silver market will take at least a week before it begins to completely collapse. Tim Hack is that person. Do you mean melt up when you say Trump's clock responds? Yes, he does. Even if you can see them in the individual images, the market sniper claims that South Africa does not have any silver Krugerrands for sale. Refineries and Rand Refiners' statement is below. This is their official announcement declaring their departure. To be honest, I'm uncertain. Chris Sauer. You won't find any gold or silver at any of the Ontario Costcos. In addition, nearly all products offered by the Royal Canadian Mint have been sold out. Silver baron? It's like being in a million different places at once. We have never seen anything like the silver squeeze. It is genuine. We did, in fact, notice something. Similar to this, I have seen it before. The real thing was much worse. Just give me a moment, and I'll fill you in. Kilo bars are currently unavailable at the Perth Mint. I can't believe this. Many countries' silver supplies are inadequate, according to what I read online. What is the current status in Vietnam? The Vietnamese government has stated that they are out of stock. I saw that your shop had a lot of coins. Will those be the final ones? Yes. We are uncertain about the availability of raw supplies to sustain production. The supply of raw resources is finally running low. The 1,000-ounce bars and such are considered raw materials. So the UK is currently out of stock of gold and wonderful silver. Tea was just spit out by millions of Britons. He is also retweeting the current UK position of Hans Acheny. Furthermore, set up a stock alert the next time you visit gold.uk. Alright, here we have 1 kilogram, 1 kilo, 1 kilo. These coins are made of silver. They are awaiting stock, therefore if you provide your email address, you will be notified when they are back in stock. But at this moment, they are parched. The same old refrain, more goods, more goods. Now we may proceed. This is about the impending extinction of silver. Shortages were initially noted in China and Japan. Problems have already begun to manifest in the UK, Australia, and Canada. Hans Acheny here again. Perhaps this is the identical vendor. Seemingly identical. My precious metals merchant is either waiting for an order or is currently out of stock of silver, Deborah Robinson. Once again, this vendor is the same. Unfortunately, 10 of the 250-gram silver bars are out of stock at the moment. Not more than 3. Reason being, they are down to their last 3. So there you have it. They vanished. SD coin. This, therefore, is America. Greetings, this is Mike. My message is brief. Although I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of the new viewers of our films, I feel compelled to mention that only about 15% of you have really subscribed and enabled notifications. Some difficult times are ahead of us. Therefore, turn on notifications if you would rather not miss any updates. Also, I appreciate you constantly giving me the thumbs up. And finally, we have been offering high-quality instructional content at goldsilver.com for 20 years. We would be truly grateful if you could consider us as your precious metals dealer so that we can carry out this important work. Returning to the video now, SD coin. This, therefore, is America. At this time, there are only 2,277 units left in stock. Now let's proceed. According to Idaho Outlaw, Monument Metals in the US has sold out of silver monster boxes. This is not a practice run. This month, silver will reach unobtainium. Unaffordium and unobtainium were terms that I came up with. I am much obliged that you cited me, Idaho Outlaw. However, the silver price follows the silver spot price initially. You know, the price of spot is lower than the price of any actual product. What you need to know is that futures contracts decide the spot price, which is where the bullion banks and refiners deal. However, there comes a point when the demand for silver and gold is so high that their prices depart from the spot price, at which point they are no longer affordable. The next thing I know, it's happening again, just like in 2008. In 2005, I launched goldsilver.com. In the summer and fall of 2008, my book was released. The world's financial crisis started in October when the markets plummeted. A stampede was triggered toward precious metals. Plus, there's a limit to how many coins the United States Mint can produce. As soon as their stock runs out and every dealer has bought it, they put everyone on allocation. Also, the suppliers can only receive the percentage of production that they were previously allocated, whether it was 25%, 10%, 1%, or 3% in the month leading up to the mint's runout. As a result, our situation would be that I, a small-scale trader just starting out, would have, say, silver rounds and silver eagles. The following week, silver eagles were the only coins available. Silver rounds were no longer available. A week later, there will be just 100-ounce bars. I just had that silver stuff. The gold variant was more durable. However, the gold products began to run out when the silver ones ran out entirely, leaving me without silver for 3 weeks. And for a whole week, after looking everywhere, the only thing I could locate for you to purchase on goldsilver.com was kilobars. Plus, the price of gold was hovering around $800 to $1,000 back then. Therefore, you were completely out of luck unless you had around $30,000 to invest. Unfortunately, it was unavailable. It could be in the possession of someone. My Chicagoan buddy, though, was shocked to hear that a local dealer was selling 100-ounce silver bars for $18 an ounce when I contacted him. That dealer was selling at a premium of more than 100%, while the silver spot price was below $9. At a time when the spot price was less than $9, silver eagles sold on eBay for as much as $36, a premium of 300% above spot. Thus, this is possible. This has transpired previously. And that is the point at which silver turns into unobtainium. I had only kilobars of gold on those days when I was out for 3 days, much alone a week. We were completely out of products for 3 days. I was essentially bankrupt. Back then, precious metals like gold and silver were impossible to get by. They were out of your reach. Thus, the height of the worldwide financial meltdown. The rest of the globe is buying up gold and silver, while Americans are selling them in droves. Accordingly, this is bald guy cash. So that you can view it, I will ask Dan to include the URL in the description below. He purchases from a Polish online merchant. He finds sovereign coins nowhere else, so he looks at the price the dealer is paying clients to sell them back to him. Then he resells them. What occurs when a crisis is this. To determine the price, he first finds out how much Australian kangaroos are selling for, and then he converts that amount using currency conversions. It was then revealed that the current price is $55 per ounce. In most cases, when you re-enter the market to sell your goods, you should be offering it to the dealer at or slightly below spot price. The market dictates the outcome. On occasion, a sovereign coin, such as a silver eagle, can go for somewhat more than spot. In this moment, though, $55. What then will the dealer resell it for? They no longer cost $58. During regular business hours, they might sell it for $56 if they're paying $55. However, the dealer is currently aware that selling it today will result in them being out of business and forced to pay even more. With more people looking to purchase than sell, their spreads will need to widen, and those vendors are really responsible for supplying the purchasers. Due to the dealer's immediate lack of inventory, the price spread must widen until the product is sold. So, without further ado, I present to you Bald Guy Money. I wanted to inform you that from November 2nd through the 5th, I will be attending the New Orleans Investment Conference. In addition to speaking 4 times, I'm also on 2 panels. I think this is the longest speech I've ever given at a conference. Going to neworleansconference.com/Maloney will add you to the list of individuals I sent there. Furthermore, I will acquire that inventory and make an effort to spend time with you. Hopefully, I'll run into you at that event. Returning to the video now. The streets of Vietnam are crowded with businesses selling gold and silver. The Vietnamese market for garden urns has long been a major supplier of metals. As for the silver market, there is currently none available due to a supply shock. This week's pricing action will reflect it. Silver ETF alert, Bob Coleman. In an increasing market, there is an unspoken cost for authorized participants and dealers who wish to withdraw SLV shares and redeem silver. They anticipate an increase in options market volatility and have less than 10,000 shares available to short. Furthermore, the time was 9:23 a.m. on October 6th, as can be seen by scrolling down. It seems like everyone is trying to squeeze Eric Young and his team. There are no shares available, and he reposts this tweet about the PM glitch. At 10:28, that is. The second one occurred at 9:23. This happened at 10:28. We have run out of shares to short SLV. Plus, the prices just won't stop going up. With no shares available to short, Nostra House of Gold reports that the cost to borrow SLV shares is soaring. At 140 this is. That bar has clearly gone boom. Hey there, Bob Coleman. Just wanted to give you another ETF alert about SLV. Yesterday, SLV issued 5 million shares. This morning, the interest rate on borrowing fell to 6.3%. But there weren't any shares to borrow at all. With no shares available to borrow, the current borrowing rate is 9.82%, which is nearly 10%. In addition to that, the other 2 took place on October 6th. It is now October 7th at 2 o'clock. You can see the bar from the previous day, and this bar surpassing it 1 day later. This reminds me of the bottomless pit of debt in my book. I assume whoever produced this read my book, because that's the image. This, however, was the excess. We have had this massive imbalance since after 2020. And the inventories have been decreasing even as everyone is buying. Consequently, according to the graph of the silver market's equilibrium, the market has experienced a sea change, going from a time of surplus to one of huge, continuous deficits. Indeed, it is. And the reason behind the depletion of all supplies is this very thing. The above-ground storage facilities have been depleted, beginning with gold, then Russia, and finally last week, central banks began to purchase silver as a medium of exchange. As a result, 3 or 4 national banks have begun purchasing silver. Consequently, there will be an increase in attempts to purchase in the coming months. But there is a catch. Everything has been depleted. With 3 purchasers for every vendor in September, Bullion Star set a new record for purchasing. In September, Bullion Star had a buy-sell ratio of 3 to 1. Even though the prices of gold and silver were at all-time highs, buyers outpaced sellers 3-1. September was also our best month for precious metal sales so far this year, thanks to the consistent demand we've seen in-store and online. The trend is obvious. Instead of cashing in at peak pricing, customers are stocking up. Demand is unaffected by all-time highs. In order to acquire physical assets outside of the financial system, they are purchasing aggressively. In response to complex hazards, debasement of currencies, global uncertainty, and institutional instability, buyers have prioritized physical possession. So, silver is in low supply and prices have risen. Who was supposed to have informed me earlier? Indeed, I have. I first began spreading the word about this in 2002 and haven't stopped since. Additionally, I have gained a lot of possessions since then and have only ever sold small items when I was paying too much for storage. But I was able to exchange those ounces for additional ounces. I have been collecting for a long time. Thus I only have a small selection of things that I do not sell. One option is to print money. Silver cannot be printed. Thank you, Wall Street Gold. However, please do not panic. The silver has completely disappeared. Your presence here is greatly appreciated. Until then, take care.